Wow. It's
been a while.
It's been a long time.
It's been a while for New Visions Radio, folks.
Well, yeah, I'm so rusty at it. Just I don't know what it is. I'm like, what is radio now?
Yeah.
Honestly, but it's so cool, man. It's good to be back. New season on New Visions Radio, and of course
Yeah.
here simulcasting on our YouTube channel again this year, and now on Twitch and our Facebook pages. Wow,
Scary.
just
That's
yeah,
scary.
it is
Too many
scary.
places can see our faces.
You guys are out there.
We are out.
Yeah. I mean, for the longest time, we were on Apple and everything else, but when we switched over to the new network, we just haven't. I don't know. We haven't gotten back to that and Spotify, and I mean, we'll eventually do it, I guess. But I don't know. We're pretty happy with this. It's working. It's
Oh
working.
yeah, no, you guys are kicking ass, man. And I always tout your community. I know you've got a very wonderful, supportive community who just love you, and I love you too.
Well,
Love
thank
your
you.
show. Yeah.
Thank you. We love you too. So.
It's not because we're a bunch of goofs, but
Well, there's that. Yes.
yeah, no, hey, you gotta make light of things sometimes, right?
Alex, define goose. Come on.
I'd rather not. I might get in trouble.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching whatever platform you're doing it. Thank you for joining us this evening. This evening we have Paranorm Girl herself, Kristen Amanda.
Ooh, yay! Thank you
Hello.
guys. Hey.
I keep wanting to say Paranormal Girl. I don't know.
Yeah, it'll trip you up, but that's the play on words. Yeah, I was on an interview earlier today that they had to redo it a couple of times because they couldn't quite do the Paranorm Girl. It's the stream.
Paranormal. Paranormal.
And it's a good thing we got it right the first time because this is live.
Yeah,
that's part of the goofiness. If you have to just do it a couple of times over.
Yeah,
but they expect it from us anyways. I mean, the scripts are never ending.
If we don't mess up, then something's wrong.
I know it's not nocturnal frequency radio.
No, without the nocturnal.
When we were on Block Talk Radio, man, did we ever mess up a bunch of times?
Was that live too?
That was live too. The show's always been live. Always.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah, always been live, right from the beginning.
Yeah.
We contemplated doing podcasting, but I don't know. I mean, I think Alex and I, just don't have the time for the editing and everything else, even though it's a huge undertaking. And I think we prefer doing it live because the interaction with people during the show is just, we love it.
Yeah. There's that excitement factor. And, just to correct you, a lot of podcasters don't have time for the editing. They just don't do it.
So, okay, let's cut to the chase. Okay, the paranormal, and obviously you cover it in all sorts of different variations, segments like we do. But why the paranormal? What fascinated you about the paranormal that got you all started with this?
Ooh, that's a big question. It's always so hard to answer. Yeah. Okay. So unlike a lot of other folks who are involved and fascinated by the paranormal, I didn't have those like early experiences, like early childhood, seeing the monsters in my closet or anything like that. I had a single mother who was incredibly open-minded about all things mysterious and paranormal and conspiracy theory and all of that. So that was really bred into me from the start, and just to constantly question things and look at the other side and the opposite sides of things. And I think that's where the fascination with it had to have begun, because I didn't really have any other stronger influence than her growing up. But yeah, I mean, I just remember when I was a kid, we were growing up in Montana, and we used to lay out on this. We bought a big family-sized trampoline, and we'd grab some sleeping bags and snacks, and we'd go out and sleep under the stars. And as we were falling asleep, this is the stuff that we would talk about. Just all kinds of any possibilities. And oh God, we listened to Art Bell constantly.
Oh, Art Bell, classic.
Hundreds of nights falling asleep to that. Just that voice.
he was a showmanship, like he was awesome. He knew how to interview, even if he didn't agree with the guest, he didn't let on. He just, I mean, he did disagree, obviously, but I mean, if he really didn't disagree, he wouldn't, the entertainment flowed.
Yeah. He was just one of, I don't know. I mean, I think about like all my favorite, hosts and interviewers, and there was just something like, it was just so effortless, like fluid. And like you said, even if he disagreed with it, like he still pulled it off, one of a kind.
Well, who else did you listen to besides Coast to Coast back in the day?
Growing up, nobody else paranormal. But, when I started getting into podcasts, like, of course, Jim Harold was like at the forefront. That was the first one that I would listen to. And, I can't remember their names now, but I was into some true crime podcasts and, Two Girls, One Ghost. That's a great show. Nobody talks about that show. It's a great show. But yeah, those were some early inspirations.
I think one of mine, when it came to podcasting was, I don't know if you're ever familiar with Ghostly Talk.
Ghostly Talk?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, it's ringing bells. I cannot.
Yeah.
Is it the husband and wife?
No. Well, now it is. Scott and his wife Ambrose. But when it started off back in, I think it was like 2002, something like that. It was Scott and what was his name? His name's eluding me. He's no longer on the show, but they, it was so grassroots here. Just a few friends, they got together and went out ghost hunting and whatever else, and they come back and sit in the guy's basement and they just do a podcast about it. And it was they'd eventually start having guests on and all sorts of stuff, and it grew. It was a great show. It was fun.
Oh gosh, can you imagine from 2002 and they're still going?
They had a hiatus.
In some variation.
Yeah, they had. I think they went into hiatus around 2009. They came back in 2012 or so, 14, 15. I don't know, something like that. They were off for a while. Yeah. But it was kind of a live show in the beginning. They did it live, and they broadcasted live on their website, which was really unique for that period of time. Because most people would just, hey, look at just podcast, bang, whatever. But now it's just a podcast. They just do it in podcast form ever since they came back. So, yeah, good show. Highly recommended.
Very cool. Yeah, we'll absolutely check it out. Always looking for good recommendations.
Well, and I'm sure I could talk to Scott about having you on. Scott's a good guy. He'd probably love to have you on his show as well.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
So carrying on, like, what the paranormal, what fascinates you the most about the paranormal? What realm?
Oh, the topic, the topmost topic. I especially love afterlife talk. Afterlife theory, near-death experiences, shared death experiences. I've been thinking about this a lot recently, actually. I just finished, it's a book called Journey of Souls, Dr. Michael Newton.
Okay.
And it's a fantastic book. He's a hypnotherapist, and he's been doing it for decades, and he would do these, regression therapy sessions with his clients, just taking them back to childhood, like early childhood trauma, let's go over it. And he would take them back, back into their mother's womb. And then I don't know how it happened, but the switch, he was able to take them further back. And his clients started talking about this process, and they would be saying the same things that were happening prior to life. And then this whole thing that was happening between lives and then into past lives. So I love talk like that. I love theorizing about it. But what was especially interesting about what he was saying and what his clients were saying is there were hundreds of these clients, hundreds of these cases, and they were, for the most part, saying the same thing. All these people don't know who they, each other are. They're saying the same thing. They're describing it in the same way. And it occurred to me that the idea of what they're talking about, that is what I thought when I was a kid. Because I was thinking about this stuff, early on, but I was like, the most logical sense to me, that was the idea that I had in my head when I was a kid, we didn't grow up like with a faith or religion or anything like that. So that was, I don't know, that just always made sense to me. So that's the answer. I love talking about afterlife.
Got a question there, I guess, for you.
Reincarnation, near-death experiences, or both? As in utmost topic, or I love them both. I think they're tied together. I think they're in the same realm. Absolutely. It all comes together.
So the next logical question, Kristen, is your next season going to be about that?
I'm working my way up to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And for people who don't know about Paranorm Girl podcast, yes, you do it in seasons, and each season covers a particular topic, in-depth topic. The last season you did, or season 3, you're not finished that season yet, right? Season 3?
Season 3 is finished. Yeah, that was on demons in possession.
Correct.
All about demons in possession. This season, I am about in the middle of it. It's all psychics and mediums.
Right. Sorry, I got the numbers mixed up. Season 4, correct, is not finished. So I mean, yeah, and my memory is like a gerbil. Anyway,
yeah.
Well, you've been through the whole show now, so I imagine your brain is just much.
It's all in there somewhere. But yeah, so folks, check it out. I mean, you do a deep dive of each topic, and that's it. And at the end of the season is when you sort of tell people what your conclusions are based on the topic, based on the material you've read for that season.
Which is cool. I mean, you don't that you don't really get that. I mean, we're like scatterbrains here. I mean, we go from topic to topic to topic to topic. But yeah, the way you're formatted is actually really neat. I like it.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's how a lot of shows do it. Absolutely. And are you raising your hand? Do you have a question? No, that's how a lot of shows do it. And I think that's what people have gotten, really used to, that format, just kind of jumping here and there and all over the place. But I think when I was, really starting to get down to like brass tacks and figuring out that I wanted to do a podcast of my own, an issue that I had, it was an actual issue, was I wished that there was a way to learn about an entire subject, like, because I would listen to these episodes and these interviews and be fascinated by this topic, and it's just this little, it's a little like bite-sized thing, and I'd want to know more, so much more, and then we would move on. And so the idea behind that was it's not going to be for everybody, the format that I have, because like you said, it's nuts and bolts. Like every single episode is going to be about some different aspect of subject. But if you're, into Netflix at all, you like to binge things, listen to the entire season. And if you love the subject, you'll learn everything that I did about it. Absolutely. So hopefully by the end, that conclusion episode, it'll make sense, like as far as all of the information that we've covered. Yeah, I don't know. That was the hope anyway.
So, we have dove into demons quite often on our show, and like I have been investigating and researching the paranormal since '96.
Wow.
And I've never I've had many sort of claims of demonic activity, possession, blah 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 blah. But not once have I gone into one of these cases and have ever encountered anything that I would call demonic in the traditional sense. And that, I'm not saying that just because I haven't, it doesn't exist. But what I'm asking is, what are your overall thoughts about demons and demonology and that sort of realm?
I think, in short, we are misinterpreting what we're seeing. Absolutely. I came to the same conclusion, I guess, that you have, just from all of the stories, all the reports, the possible causes and the possible mental illnesses, and then the history of this, like the biblical history and the actual history. I think that there is something, because I do believe that something is going on. Like there is credibility to these reports and encounters, but I just don't think I cannot buy the theological interpretation of this. I don't. But I think there is something to it. People are encountering something, just not a demon, dark entities, sure. Other entities that people are just mistaking, like just because your light switch is flipping on and off, like, is that evil? Is that bad? Like, people are very fear-based and jump to conclusions, and we're scared. We're a frightened animal. So yeah, we're misinterpreting what we're experiencing.
Not to mention that a lot of religions use that to their advantage to scare people into actually
control mechanism.
Yeah,
absolutely,
more or less. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's demons. But let's talk about
demons.
Let's talk about the current season, mediums, because I know you love that topic, Kristen.
Do I? No,
I don't know. Do you?
Yeah, it's been interesting so far. I feel like I've taken a bit of a skeptical stance already, which I try not to take. Just on the more so like the fortune telling psychic aspect. Ectoplasm, I'm all out on ectoplasm. It's not a thing.
I remember that episode.
But yeah, mediums. There is something to it, and that comes from, yes, everything that I have learned just from my research, but I personally know mediums, and they're real. They can tell you things. Like, where are they getting this information from if it's not from an intelligent source, or from this other ultra plane outside of our own plane? Like, yeah, there's definitely something to it. I don't want to just like be very solid yet, because I will save all of that for the conclusion episode. But yeah, I do buy into that aspect of it. Absolutely. What about you guys?
I'm still up in the air when it comes to mediums. I mean, I've met a couple of interesting people in my life that kind of make my eyebrows raise. But
you have eyebrows?
Apparently, somewhere. But yeah, I still haven't come across someone who has been very accurate. Like, they've had accurate snippets, but that's it. I mean, but that could be like, anything else. Like, I could take a guess about Steve's life if I hadn't known him for as long as I did, based on a couple of minutes of conversation, and I may get some parts right.
So like you've maybe experienced somebody who is shotgunning, which is a technique that, cold readers will use, where, they say obviously like things that can apply to most people. And of course they're going to get hits. Yeah. But, I've read stories and experiences of mediums who were not 100% accurate, because I don't think that exists, just because we're all people and we make mistakes. But I've read some pretty incredible experiences that it's like, you're naming specific people that nobody knows about, and specific things that happened back in childhood that nobody knows about. Like, how were you so specific with that? How did you know that? Yeah. Not just general things. And, I guess it could be argued too, just that they don't get things 100%. Sean, the No BS Psychic, I read his book as part of my research for this, and he talks about it like the psychic mediums toolbox, where you can really only interpret the information that you're receiving based on what you already have in your head. So if you don't know, about certain subjects or whatever, like what's being presented to you, the information that's being presented to you might not make sense, and so you're interpreting to the best of your ability. You know what I mean? And then also with like signs and symbols, you might receive a vision of, red roses, and that's supposed to, you're supposed to be able to, at a certain point, you're supposed to be able to interpret, what does that mean to you personally as the reader, as the medium? Does it mean weddings? Does it mean dates, love, funeral? so on and so forth. So there is a lot of human error that I think can go into these readings.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've had some interesting ones.
Yeah, I mean, I've met a couple of interesting mediums throughout my life
Yeah.
that, like I said, gave me pause. Let's say that.
Mm.
But it's not like I've come across someone who blew my mind. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
That I've still have to come across, and I've heard stories that, much like yourself, I've heard
Mhm.
stories from other people saying, "Oh, this guy's or this girl's great." He's on the ball most of the time, and I haven't come across that.
Yeah. Well,
like same with me. I mean, I've worked with several psychic sensitive mediums, however you want. I've worked with a lot of them,
mhm.
and it's just there's only been maybe two people,
Mhm.
one in particular that is currently working with us now, that has just blown me away.
Oh, wow.
Blown me away in terms of on a sort of professional level. And I'm talking about working with on an investigation sort of uh,
Mhm.
level, and again on a personal level. I
Okay.
I had her read something for me completely. She had no information about it whatsoever, and when she came back to me with what she was picking up, it was just wow. And none of this stuff was online. She couldn't research it, nothing.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it was like wow.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and but I mean, for the most part, it's just just grabbing at you know yeah.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
no doubt that there are people out there that have great skills at this. I personally, I haven't come across
Yeah.
many myself. At least not
Mm.
to the extent of, like I said, me being blown out of the water, so to speak. I mean, there's been
Mhm.
instances where they've said stuff that are, were fairly accurate, but not on the whole.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. The medium world is rife with hucksters and hoaxers and certainly people who may have a gift but are just too green and probably shouldn't be doing it. So there's a lot of muck to wade through, I think, in
Mhm.
that world. Absolutely. Was that I'm curious, was she reading you personally? Was it specifically for the investigations?
Me?
Yeah. Hmm.
No, actually, it was a family thing.
Oh.
She was reading me, and she wasn't reading me. Her approach is completely different than most mediums or psychics or anything like that.
Hmm.
And she doesn't want to know anything. She doesn't. You can simply just give her like she'll ask like you can give her a picture, any picture,
Hmm.
and she can tell you something what she's getting from that picture alone.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
incredible.
Yeah.
And like I said, I showed her a picture of like somebody in the family that had passed away, and she had no idea, no information about this person. Even that they had passed away, when they passed away, or how long it's been, or whatever.
Hmm.
And I just gave her the picture. She looked at it, and like a day later, she came back to me with this, what explaining what she was getting from this picture.
Hmm.
And it was just like it shot like chill shot down my spine. It
Wow.
was amazing how close she was with it, with no information whatsoever, none.
Okay. And
And
was she still wrong about some things or off
she
about some things?
she was yeah, she was off.
Hmm.
I mean, there's obviously certain things that she's not going to get, but the key things that she got were just like wow. Okay. It's not generic. It's not generalization. It's just bang on.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's not like grasping at straws.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she did that. We were on an investigation, and we had brought her in before the investigation, and we had the owners of the location with us, and you know, we asked them not to say anything. Don't say anything. Even if she asks you a question, don't answer. Just let her read. Just let her talk. Let her say her thing. Even if it is so familiar, don't say a thing. I don't want, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And we went into the area, the location. She read it. It was, like, of course I didn't know, because I knew some of the history, but not to the extent that the owners obviously knew it. And she literally had the owner in tears. She had the owner in tears to the point that, how did you know that? And it's not a point of her knowing that.
Yeah.
It's just a point of her feeling that.
Okay.
You know, and
okay. Yeah.
this is what I feel. And again, it wasn't general. It was bang on. It was like, wow, okay, this is just too eerie. It was to the point where they did not want us to continue the investigation after the first time we were in there. They were spooked by it.
Oh wow!
They were spooked
weirded them out that much. Yeah.
And people will get like that, and that's completely understandable. And I ask people, what, you know, are you willing to accept what we may find or what we may not find? You know, are you okay with that?
Right.
And you have to ask that question, because if you don't ask that question, you know, you don't know what's going to unfold.
Yeah, people get weird with this stuff. Sometimes
exactly.
they're just not prepared emotionally or mentally to have something so extraordinary occur like that. And you know, it's not just with mediums and psychics. You know, it can be a lot of different paranormal subjects. They're just not prepared at all to experience that. Yeah.
Well, because I mean, I think most people, you know, they invite, you know, these people into just out of curiosity to see, you know, okay, what do they do? How do they do it? Not expecting that, okay, I'm not going to get this kind of information from somebody who doesn't know anything about the place, and yet they do. And bang, you know, you're just like, oh, okay. Are they stalking us?
Yeah.
No, it's a weird feeling, but you know what? So I mean, there are people out there that do have the ability, but it's again, it's really hard to find those authentic sort of people.
Yeah, I agree. You had to hook Alex up with that lady.
I know who he's talking about. I'm gonna send her a picture of myself. She'll probably get freaked out.
Well, she knows too much about you now, anyways, Alex.
But she hasn't told me anything about me, so I want her to tell me.
No, you submit a picture and she just writes back, no.
Exactly.
You should send her, you know, ask her to send, you know, a picture of whoever, because she normally because I'll ask her, like, I'll you know, I'll get a location, you know, in the works for an investigation, and I'll just snap a picture, just general picture, not giving away too much information in that picture, other than, you know, it's an object or whatever else. It's just maybe a window, whatever, a staircase, whatever. It could be anything. And then you give her that picture, and it's phenomenal what she comes back with. You know, it's incredible.
See, that's the stuff right there. I mean, that is the stuff that gives me so much pause with
Yes.
this. Like,
Yeah.
how? Like, can you even think of a logical way? How?
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I can't look at. I'm as skeptic as they come. Not to the point where I completely debunk stuff, but I mean, I've been highly skeptical of psychics and mediums from the get go. Because I've studied their methods. I know their methods. You know, how they read body language, all sorts of stuff. You know, and they employ all sorts of methods. And most people will know maybe a couple of them, but they don't know them all. So yeah, yeah.
So here's $1 million question. What's the difference between a psychic and a medium?
There is none. That took me far too long to realize that a medium is a psychic, and the psychic is like an umbrella term, and it covers all these different aspects, all the abilities, and you know, even astral projection is a psychic, you know, psychic phenomenon, and then medium just kind of falls underneath that, because what they're doing is they're using psychic abilities, clairsenses, to like get these communications from the other side. So, you know, claircognition, clairvoyance, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So a medium is a psychic. A psychic is not necessarily a medium. Did I get the money? Did I win James Randi's money?
James Randi. Oh God.
I haven't dug into him. So if you want to talk about him, I'm clueless.
Good old James Randi.
I mean, he's deceased now. So what we should do is a seance and try.
Yeah, but his fund is still. I think his foundation is still around, though, isn't it?
It is, from what I understand. His family is still running the foundation, but I mean, that money is not going to go to anybody, regardless.
Does that offer still stand, though? I want to say they closed it down after nobody would claim it.
Well, I remember one person, one actually radio host, back in the day, Lou Gentili. He had this extraordinary way of collecting EVP, and he would almost like guarantee you this. Back in the day, Class A EVP. I hate classification when it comes to EVPs. If you hear it, it's an EVP. If you can't hear it, don't screw around with it to make people hear it.
Yeah.
You know, I have a problem with it. But anyways, he approached James Randi and said, "Look, here's my offer. I can produce an EVP at any given time, at any location, you know, for the money. You know, prove me wrong." And James Randi said, "Okay, right, whatever." Lou Gentili went into a location and provided him with a bone chilling EVP. It was just wow. And of course, James Randi said that wasn't paranormal, so he wasn't giving them the money.
Oh, he just wasn't buying it.
No, there was a battle. There was a huge battle there for a while, and you know, so yeah. In fact, a mutual friend of ours was good friends of ours. Was good friends with him, Lou Gentili, and that's Reeves Cook.
Oh, Mr. Reeves.
Mr. Reeves, yeah. So.
See, we can blame Reeves for this show tonight.
Well, yeah, but
it's all his fault.
It's all his fault. He turned me on to you and Steve also, and then it's all history after that.
You gotta have Kristen on the show. You gotta have her on the show.
Yeah, I gotta catch up. I caught his show with you, that first one that he did a bit ago. And I gotta catch up with that kid. I want to do another live stream with him. He's been trying that out and doing really well with it. So yeah, he's a lot of fun. Wealth of knowledge. Yeah, oh my gosh,
he's doing a great job. You know, picking up the pieces when Gareth passed away. But he's really doing a great job with that show. So it's good to see that he picked it up and he's running with it and giving it his sort of his own niche to it. So it's good. He's doing a great job. So
yeah. No, he's wonderful and such a British gent. But yeah, I always enjoy my conversations with Reeves. I did catch that wonderful tribute show that you guys did.
Gareth,
yeah, that was incredible. So much love there.
He was a great guy. He was an amazing guy. Great sense of humor. Loved all things paranormal and all sorts of stuff. He just really.
I mean, we became friends with him outside of the shows, right?
Yeah.
On Facebook Messenger with him and our other good friend Justin, and it was just it started off with him being a guest, and it developed into something more, just like with Justin.
Who's
you
Justin?
Don't know who Justin is?
Yeah,
no.
He's made multiple appearances on this show in the history of this show, and he's like Gareth. He's become a friend to Steve and I, even though we've never actually met, because he lives in just outside. Is it in Chicago or just outside Chicago? Somewhere around there,
Lake County, Illinois.
Yeah,
as he'd put it.
We at one point we planned on getting together, and then all of a sudden COVID hit, and that kiboshed.
COVID kiboshed everything.
Isn't that crazy? I've met so many friends, current friends that I have now that are like some of the best friends that I have made in a long time, and I've never met them in person. It's been all thanks to COVID. But having to just meeting them through, just like I'm meeting you guys, like through this show and online, and gosh, I talk to the same people just constantly about just whatever, like they're right there, and some of them I will never meet in person, and it's so strange to say, I've met some of my best friends this way, but I've never met them.
We've over the years we've done something on this show many times. We haven't really done it in a while since doing this format, but we would really love to do it again soon. We had a format called Dark Discussions, and we'd always have several recurring guests on. We'd usually have about 5, 6, whatever. And we would just leave the table open and just let it flow and talk about, how do you want to start this? Let's start this with, say, demons and religion. And then you just watch how the conversation, like, it veers off and goes here. And some of the best, I think, radio we've had have been those discussions.
Oh wow!
It's just so in depth.
Yeah. So it's just an open, just a round table discussion.
Open forum, yeah.
That's awesome.
There's been times when we first started doing the show, we were broadcasting from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and there were times when we would, back in the Block Talk days, when we would go over the 2 hours and go an additional hour or two just on these discussions.
Yeah, because
there was so much.
You just didn't want to end it where it was. It was like, we can't end this. I mean, this is just so intense. We just kept going, and it was amazing. Some of the points that would come out of these discussions on certain topics under the paranormal, whatever, right? Mostly on the paranormal, but yeah.
And then we'd have the crank callers calling in.
Oh, did you have callers?
We had
yes, we did.
We had live callers, and you know what? They weren't all crank callers. I mean, we had some really, really, really good callers.
Yeah, well, Justin was one of them.
Yeah, Justin was one of them.
Yeah, Justin was a caller.
Some people that called in just were so fascinating to listen to. The questions or comments or suggestions or whatever in terms of adding to the sort of the table. It was just fascinating.
I want to add to originally what you asked me, like, where was the fascination born from? And it does have to do a lot with those early conversations, not just with, my mother at the time, but just the conversations that would just come up randomly, and you get to just sit and listen to someone, a friend or, even a stranger, just talk about this. And it just really just makes it grows this fascination and passion within you about it. That was one of my favorite parts early on. Now that I'm thinking about it, it was one of my favorite parts to just have that conversation. And that's kind of, I love the idea of having this round table, introduce the subject, let it go. And then, magic can happen. And that was an inspiration actually for starting to bring guests onto my show. It was never supposed to be, interview based. And now it's every other episode, as Alex would know. But yeah, just being able to have that conversation and see where it goes and see what somebody else can bring to the table with the things you've never thought of before. It's awesome.
I mean, people love guests, and we love having new people on the show that people want to hear, books, whatever, TV shows, blah, blah, blah. We've had them all on the show. It's just incredible. I mean, poor Alex has been had the book thrown out on one side.
I'll never forget that day.
And, it was crushing. It really was, Kristen, because I mean, here's this author, this paranormal author that we both thought, this highly of. We're having him on the show. We had some technical difficulties. And the guy, look, I had to tend to the difficulties and work them out. And as I'm doing this guest is like literally laying into Alex about this.
Oh, no.
Wow. What the hell, man?
Just because he was so frustrated with the difficulties.
He's like, I can't believe
taking it out on you.
Oh yeah, poor Alex.
Oh no.
That's how I lost my hair, Kristen.
He just ripped it all out, or was it the stress?
No, I think it was the stress.
Oh, you poor thing. Oh my
That's
goodness. That would be your hang up for me.
He's been banned from the show.
Good.
Is he even alive?
Send him packing.
I don't know if he's even alive yet. Still, I mean, is he?
I'll check it right now.
He's checking right now. But anyways, what I was getting at, we would certainly love to keep you in the loop if you're interested.
Yes. Oh
about
my gosh.
a dark discussion.
Absolutely.
I know for a fact that we'll probably have Reeves on because Reeves loves that. So I'm sure we'll have Reeves on, and I'm sure we'll probably bring on Justin and another person and yourself if you're interested.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Count me in.
Go nuts. Yeah. So
by the way, he's still alive.
You guys are gonna have to tell me who this is off air. I'm so
off
curious.
air, we'll tell you.
And now that I know he's still alive, I will not have him on my show.
Wait a sec. We've called him out on the show. What are you afraid of, Alex?
Yeah, I'm not afraid. He's already reamed me out once. Who cares?
Yeah, you've already felt the wrath of John.
Yeah, I felt
Colombo.
the wrath.
Whoops! Did I say his name?
Oh, there you go.
There's no room for that. There's plenty of other wonderfully nice folks who would just kill to be on a show like this. So,
we've had tons of great people on the show, guests on the show that like
Stanton Friedman.
Guy.
We've had him on the show.
Who
else do we have? Unfortunately, a few of our guests that have come on have since passed, like Stanton Friedman, unfortunately. Who are some of the other ones that we've had on?
Philip.
Huh?
Philip
who?
What's his name? Last name? I can never see his last name. Bragno.
Philip Imbrogno?
No, I can't say his last name. I'm terrible with his last name.
Oh,
Alex is looking at
Imbrogno. Philip Imbrogno.
Yeah, Imbrogno.
He's Italian. Come on. Yeah. Philip Imbrogno.
So I'm not far off. I was close.
Sure you are.
Richard Palmisano.
Well, yes.
Come on, Richard is
Richard's
who's an author.
Yeah.
Authored several great books on the paranormal.
Oh,
wow. God, Chris Hawley, our good friend Chris Hawley, who was
who passed away as well, unfortunately.
David Farrand, who is well known for the Highgate Vampire in the UK there. There's a topic you might want to dive into.
The Highgate Vampire.
Yeah. Oh, you want to talk about just have fun. I don't think
just ask Reeves, he knows.
Reeves will tell. Yeah, if you talk to
Reeves will tell you.
He'll tell you about it. But
I recall you guys talking about it before on your show, and I cannot for the life of me remember if it was a real vampire, if that was what it was based on, or if it was just something strange going on, and that was the name.
One individual thought it was a real vampire.
There was two camps.
Yeah. So one individual who also considered himself a bishop but isn't. And then you had David's side that didn't think it was a real blood-sucking, mythological vampire.
Well, the bishop actually thought it was a blood-sucking vampire.
Yeah, and he even claimed
he literally went into Highgate Vampire, broke into a vault. Highgate Cemetery, and broke into a vault, a crypt, and staked a body.
Somebody who was already dead.
Said it was the head vampire. And wait, is that not desecration?
It is.
Of course it is.
Unless the laws in the UK are different, but I don't think they are.
So of course the bishop, not bishop, was the one who thought this fantastical story about this poor dead body.
At the beginning of the show, you remember hearing the part where that gentleman was talking about how Steve and I couldn't go into churches without vomiting. That's David Farrand.
That's David Farrand.
Oh, okay.
He did that. Right. He did that clip for us, and we even have that on one of our T-shirts too. We have it.
It's something that he repeated from the bogus. Well, we call him the bogus bishop.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough of that. Let's get back into you, because I mean, enough of us. This is about you. So, no, you're not boring. Don't give us that. So people can catch the podcast. Well, we got the website there. They can catch it on Spotify, Apple, all the platforms.
All the platforms, yes.
Yeah.
Any platform you can think of, it should be on everything now. Absolutely. I do stream it through my website as well. And that's basically, I do have it on YouTube. I'm not as good as I should be. I'm usually about 5 episodes behind, but I try to shore it all up when I do think about it. Everywhere. I mean,
you can find it on everywhere, like Spotify, basically any podcasting platform. You could pick it up.
I have it on Spotify. So.
Yeah, same here.
I mean, it's horrible on YouTube. Trying to get everything caught up, the archives.
Yeah.
I'm bad. I mean, but we literally have, I don't know how many shows, Alex. How many shows? 100 and.
I don't. You got to be getting close to 200.
Well, no, we're over 200 shows, but I'm talking about archive shows.
Oh, archives.
There's like 200, at least 200 archive shows that we still need to get up there.
Hang on, because I know I have it. I have most of the archives here on my computer. I gotta see if I can find it. Carry on, and I'll let you know when I find it. Because it might be a while, so don't not there.
I think the BTR is about 198, but
it's around there.
Plus there was live stream and a couple others, but enough of that.
It's tough to remember anyway, just to put those backlog episodes up. But I've been kind of tossing around the idea too, because generally it's just an MP4 of the graphic for whatever episode I'm uploading. And with like a little sound wiggly line that does the audio. and that can't be very interesting to watch. So I have started doing a lot more Zoom with my interviews, and of course there comes the video with it, and maybe just uploading that. I'm never prepared. Like I'm always in my jammies and a baseball cap, and I look a mess. So it would take a little bit more preparation on my part.
So kind of like Steven.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I didn't want to say anything, but
you have to be comfortable. I mean,
that was my way around, beating around the bush.
You can see we're wearing something on the top. Who knows what we're wearing on the bottom?
Same. Yeah, but maybe do something like that and kind of spruce it up for the YouTube audience, and give them something to watch. That's more interesting.
So, is there like a guest or some guests that you'd like to have on that you have not been able to have on yet?
Oh, that's a good question.
Anybody in particular?
Okay. I'll have to come back to that. I don't think that way, I guess. Like I just, when it occurs to me, I'm like, oh yes, let's ask them. Let's do it. I will say I've had 2 guests on my show already who I never thought I would get on my show, that they were just personal. I don't think they're much famous beyond, like, they're not like, household names or anything, but they were just personal favorites of mine. Like, I remember listening to them back when, on Jim Harold, and just, I must have been feeling bold at some point, and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna message them. Let's ask. Let's see what's the worst they can say. And they said yes. So that was a strange experience. So there were 2 I definitely wanted on, and I did get them. But as far as somebody I'd like to have on someday, I mean, there's tons. I just names are escaping me at the moment. But yeah, I'll get back to it. I'll circle back.
Okay, you can think about it when we go on break.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
Coming up soon. So okay, topics. Since we went with guest topics
I want to talk about.
Yeah.
All right. Aside from the afterlife stuff, which I'm going to save till the very end, till retirement from the podcast.
EVPs. Sorry, I had a cough.
Well, that would go into it, wouldn't it? You got to think about what are all the different aspects of like an umbrella topic, and then include that in an episode, or in like the season. EVPs are, there's been some really convincing stuff, really convincing. I don't think I've dove into that nearly as deeply as you guys have.
Do you want to hear something?
Yes.
Okay, hold on a sec here.
Are you playing an EVP?
I'm going to play it for you, and I want your thoughts.
Okay,
hold on.
I'm going to turn it up on my end here. Okay.
And I know a lot of the viewers have seen this, but you haven't seen this, so let us know your thoughts. And again, you'll hear it, and then I replay it propped up a bit so it's easier to hear.
Okay, you just want to know what I hear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, hold tight. What do you hear?
Oh, I mean, the woman, I can't tell what she's saying.
Yeah.
It's like a sing-songy something. It's a string of words. Like you can hear consonants.
Yeah.
Gosh. Could you play it one more time?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
This is so cool. that gives me chills. See, like it's like it's right there.
Mhm.
Like I don't know if you have listened to it enough to like figure out what it's saying. It is absolutely somebody talking. What
Mhm.
was the scenario? What was going on?
It's still under review, but the latest now, it could be possibly something in German.
Oh, okay.
And the scenario, what you were hearing there is, well, you saw it, like the visual was there. It was taken from a video camera, and I always have somebody go in and visually document a location before you go in and investigate it.
Mm-hmm.
So the camera guy goes upstairs, and this is an old farmhouse that's now used as a museum, to show people what farming was like back in the 1890s, 1900s, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And as he's, panning the camera, he stops at this oil painting of a little girl in period piece clothing. And as he stops and he's got it centered, you start to hear, like, because you can hear us downstairs a little bit in the background.
Mm-hmm.
But right there, you hear what sounds like a little girl maybe, reciting a poem or nursery rhyme,
Mm-hmm.
singing.
Yeah. It did sound. I mean, it sounded to me like a little like it did sound like a woman's voice to me, but like a very light, melodic voice, and you can follow the intonation too. Is interesting. Like it's obviously it's a recitation of a song or a poem or something strung together like that. You know, you can follow it like it's
exactly.
It's so interesting.
So, Kristen, you remember when I told you I was going on that investigation?
Yeah.
It was at that location with Steve.
Same location.
Okay.
It was the same location. That's not where the recording. That's not where it came from.
No,
it was a prior investigation, but it's the same location.
Okay. Yeah. That's incredible. How often do you guys investigate?
Well, it's been sparse because of COVID, but working on a few more, an old house actually, that was built in the 1820s, and people have been having some issues there, so we're slowly getting back into it. But I mean, the research is ongoing. I mean, it's constantly ongoing. So hold tight. We're going to take a break here for station identification. Oh, we still have to do that.
Sounds good.
But hold
people
tight.
On YouTube love it.
I know that the people yeah, exactly. Hold tight, folks. We'll be right back with Kristen. Don't go anywhere. Second half of Nocturnal Frequency Radio. We'll be right back. And we're back.
Woo!
Okay, so let's just make sure everything is okay there. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you for joining us this evening, Kristen. It's been a blast the first hour. Alex and I both love, like I said, I haven't had the luxury of listening to a lot of the episodes yet because I've been on vacation for the past 2 weeks, so I've been trying to catch up on some. Unlike Alex, who's been listening to quite a few of the episodes.
I'm a podcast whore.
He is a podcast.
Me too. I've got a list of like 30 podcasts I have to cycle through constantly. Total podcast whore.
I remember I used to work night shift, and I swear to God, podcast ruled when I worked night shift.
Mm-hmm.
They were the best. I mean, obviously, it all started with Art Bell. Coast to Coast late at night was the best. And I always bring this up, but and I'll bring it up with you. Listening to Coast to Coast, I remember having an experience myself that I wish I was able to convey, and phone up Coast to Coast and say, "Look, man, I was listening to your show, and I was walking home from work, and this happened." I was walking home from work at like 2:00 in the morning because I was off. I was off at like 2 or something like that, and I was walking home. And I'm about to cross this bridge over this river, and it's a two-sided bridge, and there's a grassy knoll in between leading up to the bridges. And as I'm approaching the bridge, this what I thought was an animal just coming up the other side, walking across the road, and gets to the halfway grassy medium there, stops, notices me. I had already stopped because I noticed it. I'm like, okay, is that a coyote? What is that? And then all of a sudden, it stood up on its hind legs.
No.
And I'm like, okay, wait a sec here. And I'm thinking, okay, there are animals that can do that. But the way he was standing up just didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, okay. And and, my brain is like trying to process this, and I'm having trouble. I just, and the longer it stood there, the longer it just didn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Is this like a sick, mangy bear or something? There's no bear in the area, nothing. And this thing probably stood about maybe 5'5" on its hind legs, and like it just looked like human. It was the weirdest thing, and like, look at, I'm as rational as can be here. I'm like, I can't figure this out. What am I experiencing? What am I seeing here? What's going on?
Yeah.
And then I waited. It waited. Next thing you know, it finally, I guess after like close to 10 minutes, it got back down on all fours and then went down underneath the bridge on my side. And of course, I gingerly walked forward to make sure that thing had gone. But at the same time, seeing if I could see it. But no, nothing. And I put it into my paranormal closet, cabinet, whatever, for a few years. And then when I started doing this show, I said, okay, well, maybe I got to do something with this. And, I started doing some research on it, and something that was printed in local newspaper here in 1978, I think it was. I saw the picture and I'm like, wow, that's what I saw, minus the red glowing eyes. I didn't see red glowing eyes. Let's be rational here, but this
Cryptid, but let's be rational.
Yeah. I just that looks exactly what I saw. And the thing was coined, like the thing in the paper was coined the Toronto tunnel creature. And it was a guy who was walking his dog, and his dog got off the leash and took off and went into the storm drain tunnel system. He went in after it, and as he went to grab the dog, here was this creature like animal, whatever, cryptid, standing there, just like, and wow. And it like I said, the artist rendition of this was just like, wow, it just so familiar.
So wow. So you were telling that story, and the only thing I could think of, like an animal that can do that, would be a bear. But it was, you said it stood up and it was just very human.
It was looking, well, it was
way
very,
that it was standing.
Yeah, the way it was standing was human. Like, it was thin. The head was small. It wasn't a big head. It wasn't like a large snout, at least when it was standing up. And like I said, we mentioned a friend of ours, Chris Hawley, who's a writer. She wrote an article about it, and she received some emails after, or phone calls, one of the two, I don't know, after she had published the article, and I think it was UFO Digest. Excuse me, UFO Digest published it, and she got some calls from people who had witnessed something in the same area years later. So is it a yet to be documented creature, animal? I don't know. Was it a sick, mangy animal? I don't know. All I know is what I saw, and it just doesn't make any sense.
It's entirely possible that it's a cryptid that just has not been documented yet.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. What was it called? The tunnel.
Well, I coined my creature. My creature, what I witnessed, was coined the Credit River creature.
Credit River creature. Okay.
But and this was before I witnessed, I had come across, while doing research on it, an article in Toronto, local Toronto newspaper. It called the Toronto tunnel creature. And then when you type that in, you'll see a whole bunch of stuff on it.
Yeah.
The Toronto tunnel.
Let me share a screen.
Go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, please.
You got the picture?
Yeah. So I want to share it. Select screen. Okay. Let me see. Let me know if you could see it.
Yep.
That's it there.
And that's actually no, that's not it. That's not the.
That's not the one.
No, that's another.
Oh, that's another one.
Yeah, that's not the actual artist rendition of it.
Oh, there it is.
All right.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Go under the do Toronto Sun.
Yeah. I'll do that, and then
Yeah,
we can talk more about it. But we can let Kristen know that we also did our nocturnal night shots based on that too.
we along with the radio show, we were doing a video blog series called Nocturnal Night Shots.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one that we decided to do was on the Credit River Creature. So we went to visit the location and talk about my experience. Give you a visual sort of representation of the area where I spotted it. Pretty much that's it. But I mean, again, people were like, "Oh yeah, I think I've seen something there." Yeah.
Man, I haven't had any experiences with cryptids personally. I've met a lot of people who are just very, very much into that world, and like it's incredibly convincing. Their stories, and people have personal encounters like what you just told me.
Mm-hmm.
I feel, even though I have never experienced that it's just one of those subjects, like there's so much supporting evidence, like supporting it, that there's got to be something to it, whether they're all real or whatnot, or just imagination, I don't know. But yeah, there's certainly something to it, and I've always just kind of fallen back on this idea that, well, they're basically like unidentified animals. Basically, there may be a paranormal element to it, but there's still creatures that we're still just discovering that are at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Like, there are living things on this planet that we don't yet know about. That kind of idea, I guess, I've subscribed to.
Well, that's what the paranormal is, right? Yet to be explained.
Yep.
That's all it is. It's only a matter of time, hopefully, that pieces of what we consider the paranormal is explained rationally.
Yep. We just haven't connected those dots yet, but I foresee that happening. I do. I'm holding out hope that, within my lifetime, that we will be able to like bridge that divide.
Well, I think the biggest sort of chunk or piece of that would be to understand fully what happens after death. Because I mean, when we look at a lot of what's going on, like I say this to people who investigate the paranormal, like the ghostly sort of aspects of things, hauntings and stuff. Most people look at it from a traditionally religious sort of standpoint.
Yeah.
And I tell people you can't do that. You need to think outside the box. You really do. With the paranormal.
Yeah.
If you're stuck in that box, you're not going to go anywhere. You're not.
If you're looking at it through that lens, you're making it way harder for yourself than it has to be.
Exactly.
Strip it away and take it at face value, and start thinking. Take it from that point. I agree with you. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, it just, I think when it comes to again with life after death, I mean, are we actually witnessing dead loved ones? We don't know. It's a theory. It's and for the most part, a religious sort of viewpoint that's stuck with us over the years and ingrained in our brains.
If you take it from that aspect, though, but like all of the things that I have come across and learned that support this idea of a life after death. Do we exist after death? Most religious groups, anybody who's coming from a faith-based theological standpoint is not going to like what you have to say. And you know what I mean? Like we're there, because what's being described on multiple counts is this idea of an afterlife. Yes, we do exist, but it's not we're not sitting on clouds playing harps. Nobody becomes angels. It doesn't appear to be that way. And then we've got multiple separate sources of this information coming at us. So we have the near-death experience, shared death experience reports. We've got these hypnotherapy, past life regression reports. And then I like to include the idea of astral projection, of out of body, being able to exist out of body. So when you're under anesthesia, there have been reports then I was outside of my body. I was up on the hospital ceiling in a coma, so there's all these different ways of reporting basically the same thing that isn't arriving at that, faith-based religious standpoint.
I have to clarify my sort of my view on it. It's not that I don't believe that there's life after death. I believe wholeheartedly in the fact that we as being made up of energy. We are energy. Energy is infinite. It transitions. And I believe wholeheartedly the energy that we house, that people probably would consider our soul or whatever else, our imprint, if you will. It goes on in a different aspect. It transitions. And if you really look down to it, and the research that I've done with the metaphysical world, it makes sense. It really does. If people would start to really understand the metaphysical world, because humans are basically filtered into believing that there is nothing else but the tangible aspects that we rely on, the physical world, right? What our senses can sense, and that's it. There's nothing in between, nothing around it, nothing. But there is. And it's been proven time and time again that, there's an unseen world that we can patch into if we learn properly, or not necessarily learn, but reteach ourselves, because we were probably able to patch into this world when we're, for instance, in birth, and then make that transition into the world, and hold on to it, retain it for, several years of your childhood, and then lose it.
Yeah.
When the reality of the physical world starts to lay its feet, plant it down, and everything to you becomes, what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste.
And that's it. Yep.
And that's it.
I'm going to have some interesting conversations with my daughter when she starts to speak. That's all I got to say.
You got a couple years yet, right? You can start planting those seeds now, Alex.
Yeah, I'm going to try.
Well, you make it. I mean, you kind of think there and go, wow, hey, what, kids and their imaginary friends.
Yep.
I mean, what are your thoughts about that? Like, I mean, are they imaginary, or is there some substance to them?
I think there's substance to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was not lucky enough to have an imaginary friend. Gosh darn it. But yeah, so many have reported being at that young age, and it's like a window of time. Oh, caught on my bracelet. It's a window of time, like you were saying, like you reach a certain age. I don't think it's a set age, but a certain point where, yeah, it all becomes about the reality, what you can sense with your physical senses, and that's it. And everything else is just gone. But there's been too many reports and stories of people with these imaginary friends who ended up being, like later confirmation, ended up being like passed on relatives that had been alive, decades before, this person was born. Like, they know their name, they know what they look like, they can point them out in photos. They're like, oh yeah, that's my friend, that's Jim, or oh, yeah, that's Papa, So there is something to it. Did you guys have imaginary friends? No. Oh,
not that
we're
not that
the
I can
unlucky
remember.
bunch.
We're the unlucky bunch. Yeah.
I don't want to alarm you, Kristen, but there's been some orbs flying around your screen.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Oh, well, you know what? I'm hoping that the spirits in my new place are enjoying what I've done with their outdoor shed. I turned it into my studio. I'll have to put pictures up, but totally revamped the space. So I'm hoping the orbs are happy. I just had a conversation about orbs today. I wasn't sure. I was very split on that subject. And I know that the paranormal world really is. But he had some good points. Yeah.
Visually, I think certain aspects maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But when we're talking about video and photography, I mean, for the most part, probably 99% of it is environmentally. But I keep bringing this up. I have to find it somewhere, Alex. I don't know. It's on YouTube somewhere. But there's a guy in Scotland.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. There's a guy in Scotland. I can't remember the channel's name, but yeah, he basically will sit in a room in the dark with his night vision camera and point it in the room, and all of a sudden these orbs will fly by the camera, and he'll go, oh, there's Harriet. How's Harriet tonight? Harriet, will you come back and talk to us? Where's William tonight? And then all of a sudden another one go, oh, there's William. Hi, William. And it's like, holy crap.
Yeah, I would typically agree with you that 99% of the photo and video evidence that we've seen of orbs is, it's dust, it's lens flares, it's whatever. But how do you explain the faces that you can see in some of them? Is pareidolia?
Yeah, pareidolia.
Yeah,
pretty much. And one just flew by your face, by the way.
And I mean,
I'm not watching my screen. I'm missing all the action here.
Most will tell you even the trajectory too of these orbs, and people just, I mean, don't understand like airflow. And depending on this, the scenario, I mean, people will take a photo and that's it. I've got an orb in that photo. But tell me, do you have a photo before? Do you have a photo after? Tell me about that photo. And they can't tell you. I didn't see it. I just took and that's it.
Yeah. Well, the guy I was talking to today, he made an interesting point, because I specifically asked him, like, can you see orbs with your naked eye? Because I don't know much about it. And he was like, yeah, you absolutely can. So maybe that would be a little bit more credible.
I mean, yeah, with the naked eye, obviously, then you start to look into it a little bit more, obviously.
Yeah.
We're like our senses are horrible. but that doesn't completely discount it. I mean, maybe there is some to it. I mean, swamp gas.
Swamp gas, yeah. Or
electrical
some kind of gas.
Grid lines. I don't know. Yeah.
Ley lines. Oh, wait a sec. Hold on, Gareth. Here, listen to this. This is pretty neat.
This is called Rob. Oh.
You have to include the second part of that.
I'm going to.
Yeah, I'm hanging on the edge of my seat here. Oh.
That's insane, Gareth, man.
Ooh.
That's insane. Yeah, something like that is, and when you hear stories like that, you're like, wow.
Yeah. It's like at that point, how can you deny that there's something to that? There are how many names available, and that was the name that they pulled out of a hat, and it just happened to be scrawled on the wall. Yeah, where they couldn't see it. Like crazy.
Is there a story that you heard years ago that brought chills to your bone and has stuck with you?
Yeah, actually, it was it's not years ago, but
Okay.
it has stuck with me pretty good.
Okay.
It was at the beginning of the show, and I was researching shadow people, shadow figures. Another favorite topic. It's a guilty pleasure topic. This story was about a husband and wife who were in bed, and they'd been like trying to fall asleep or whatever. The husband couldn't fall asleep, thought his wife was asleep next to him. And he suddenly like senses like somebody, like a presence in the room. And he looks up at the doorway, and there he just describes this figure. It's a shadow standing in the doorway. And he's just laying there staring at it. And he says the shadow moved to the foot of the bed and just stood there, just staring. And he's just silently staring back. He's not moving, nothing, just waiting. He, thinks maybe it's my imagination, whatever. And he suddenly realizes he can't hear his wife's like the sleep breathing anymore. She's just silent. And he's like, are you awake? She's like, mm-hmm. And she's like, and he asks her if she sees anything. And she says, you mean that thing standing at the foot of the bed? And that story, like that always like, just, because it was their real report of what happened. And then he said, like, the thing just stood there. They were silent. Everything was silent, quiet. Nothing happened. And then it just disappeared after a couple of minutes. It just vanished into air. So yeah, that story stuck with me.
I remember that.
You remember that? Yeah, it was in an article I picked up somewhere. Yeah.
I have to correct myself. I'm sorry, Ollie. It was Ollie's story, not Kara's. Sorry, Ollie. Yeah.
It's okay. If anybody listens to the show long enough, they know that Steve's horrible with names. So am I. But
both are. Yeah, we both are. Wait a sec. Who's our guest again? No,
yeah.
I'm just kidding.
It's Joanne, right?
What?
What is going on?
We're experiencing an anomaly as you speak.
So you dove into and tried to explain and you came to the conclusion of ectoplasma.
That's shadow people plus shadow people plus Mandela effect equals ectoplasm. No.
Wow. I haven't heard that one before, but that's good.
I thoroughly enjoyed that season, by the way, Kristen.
Shadow people or
no,
Mandela
the Mandela
effect?
one.
Oh gosh, we went deep with that one. Yeah, a lot deeper than I was expecting. That season made me question my reality on multiple occasions, and it was a tough one to get through. Yeah,
you got me looking at stuff now in a different way.
Like for instance,
well, just like some of the stuff you brought up, like with what was the most common one that you kept bringing? See, I'm horrible with stuff. My memory is like a gerbil. But
the gerbil bit comes out.
Yeah,
again.
Chick-fil-A, for example.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
that was one of them. The Monopoly guy.
The Monopoly guy.
What is it? Bernstein Bears.
Bernstein Bears. Now that one did affect me. I specifically remember reading it that way when I was a kid. Bernstein or Bernstein. I didn't know how to pronounce it. Weird, man. Different. I don't know.
The Fruit of the Loom one is with the basket, right?
Yeah.
Who is it? Cornucopia or something?
The cornucopia.
Yeah, cornucopia. Yeah.
Who can honestly say they don't remember that logo? Without that cornucopia, and it was always that was part of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember if I said this on the show or not, but it occurred to me like when I saw that as a kid, I didn't know what a cornucopia was.
Okay.
So I automatically, in my brain, I made sense that was the loom. That's what the loom was.
You did mention it.
Did I? Okay. Yeah, I can't remember.
Sure you did. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. It's a weird subject. It went a lot further than I was expecting it to when I started. I was like, oh yeah, Mandela effect. It kind of interests me. This will be fun. And then you start getting into theories and, the causes and once
Down
you realize, straight down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. It's a fascinating subject.
Yeah.
Always has been.
Oh yeah.
And the problem is that you cannot, under any circumstance, prove you're right.
Yeah.
That's
the problem with the Mandela effect, because there's absolutely no way to prove it. Yeah, you see a whole bunch of people who have posted pics which have been obviously CGI to some extent to prove a point, but it's not something that you can technically prove.
Yeah.
And
it's frustrating.
And let's explain. I mean, to people out there who may not know what the Mandela effect is based upon.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's this phenomenon where a large portion of the population remembers something a certain way that by all accounts was never that way. And it's this mass memory of it being this way. For instance, you said the Berenstain Bears. That's a huge one. It's huge. Fruit of the Loom is a huge one. Fruit Loops is a huge one.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because a lot of this stuff is pop culture stuff. So a very large portion of the public would have had access to these things and remember it a certain way. Stouffer's stovetop stuffing never existed. Never existed.
What?
Stouffer's stovetop stuffing. Look it up. Never existed. So that kind of stuff, like there, at some point you're going to come across a Mandela effect that will jar you. A lot of this stuff you can just gloss over, but there's going to be that one you're just like, no, do not make me question my reality.
And people are going, why the Mandela effect? I mean, people believe that Mandela died.
And that as well. I guess that was like the big original one.
The big thing that sort of jump started this sort of research and movement, if you will.
Yeah. The original lady, and her name is escaping me right now. She remembered Mandela dying in prison in the 80s.
And so do I.
Yep.
And she started randomly talking about it. I think it was at a convention of some sort. Just kind of brought the subject up randomly to a group that she was talking with, and they all were like, well, yeah, didn't he? No, he didn't, because he had just died in 2013, I think it was,
something like that. Yeah.
So that was kind of where the Mandela effect was born. Yeah, the big bad original.
Oh, here's another classic Mandela effect. Luke, I am your father.
Yeah, the movie ones. The movie ones really got me, because I'm a big movie buff. Being an old actor, I had to watch a lot of movies. The what were the other? Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
What was the Clarice? Hello,
Fava
Clarice.
Beans.
Hello. Yeah.
Hello, Clarice. Not in the movie.
No. He did say flava beans.
No, I know. I was just trying to throw it in there.
But yeah, he doesn't say that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that one got me. Field of Dreams. Yeah, there's a lot of.
So now I'm intrigued. I was going to talk about a shadow person experience I had, but now.
Please, no, I'd love to hear it. I love shadow people stuff.
Well, I want you to explain to me then. Okay, so we were doing some research at an old pioneer cemetery. We were working with the Historical Society on trying to map out the people who might be buried there who aren't listed because it laid in complete ruins. Alex, you remember DeForest?
Yep.
You've been have you been there since they restored it?
I have not.
Oh, it's beautiful now. But anyways, up there, I think it was like 1 a.m. in the morning. We were going to do some EVP work. And there was 5 of us. 5 of us, we went up, and it was an awfully foggy evening. Very, very foggy. And this is only a small little, up on a hill, small little pioneer cemetery family. And then it expanded into local families in the area until it wasn't in use anymore. But anyways, we got up there and we split into 2 groups. So 3 of them went to the far end, and 2 of us were going to the north part of the cemetery. And I'm snapping pictures, walking forward, snapping pictures. And, for some reason, I have 3 people in front of me. And I'm snapping the picture, and I'm reviewing it. There's only 2 people in front of me. Okay, what's going on here? I look again. Yeah, there's myself, the person in the middle, and so in the front. Okay. Snap another picture. Same thing. There's only 2 people in the picture, myself and the person in front. The person in the middle wasn't in the picture. So I call out to the person in the front. I said, hey, where's so-and-so? He's down with the other group at the far end there. Okay, who's in between us? Because I'm taking pictures and this doesn't make any sense. And as soon as I said that, the person in between us veered off and started walking towards the fence line and disappeared. It was the creepiest thing that I'd ever experienced. And I'm like, what the hell just happened? So logically, I'm thinking, okay, I have to try to recreate this to make sure it wasn't light, play, shadow play from the lights, whatever, because there was a street light down below. So, and with the heavy, thick fog, okay, whatever. So we retraced our steps, did exactly what we did. Nothing. Couldn't do it. Couldn't recreate it. For the life of us, could not recreate what had happened the first time. And the lighting never changed. It was the same. How do you explain that? How do you explain that? Crazy.
The skeptical side of me followed up until the point that whoever that was veered off and walked, across wherever, because that's an intelligent choice to make. And so nobody else saw anything?
No, just myself. And that's why I said, okay, I need to try to recreate this because I want to make sure I'm not going crazy here. And like I said, went back. I said, hey, come back. Let's go. Did exactly what we did the first time. Snapping pictures, blah, blah, blah. Wasn't the same.
I would have to say if it looked just like a dark figure there in between, shadow figure, is that the conclusion that you arrived at? That it's just,
I have said that quite possibly as we know what they might be, then quite possibly that's what it was, because I cannot explain.
Yeah.
I can give you a little bit of background with that area. It's been a hotbed for activity in terms of, our research and investigations into that place. But it's not the first time that we've encountered some, and I say loosely, activity. And I hate saying evidence because to me, evidence it's proof. But to me, it's not. I can't say that I have evidence. I have findings that are interesting. I think saying to somebody that I have evidence of blah 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 is being too bold when I really don't know, because it's a field that is not stable. It still relies on theory.
Mm-hmm.
So
if you're interested, I got 2 DeForest EVPs lined up.
Ooh.
yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Yep.
Which one? What's the first one?
The first one just says DeForest 1.
Okay.
I'll check, go around and ask some questions and we'll see what happens.
Oh, okay.
So just level to the ground like this.
Yeah, just make sure.
And this is the classic EVP captured from that particular Pioneer Cemetery. Play it again, Alex.
I'll check, go around and ask some questions and we'll see what happens.
Oh, okay.
So just level to the ground like this.
Yeah, just make sure.
Are they mocking her? Doesn't it sound like?
So there's so the first female voice was someone who was physically there, apparently. Right,
Yeah,
Steve?
yeah. So
Then
you have
right
you have a guy and a woman conversing,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden you hear a little a voice on top of them,
Mm-hmm.
sort of saying something to them.
Doesn't it kind of sound like they're just repeating what the woman said, but kind of like, okay, like that? That's what it sounded like to me.
It's a new take on it, but yeah, play it again.
Oh.
I said that's a totally entirely new take on it, but yeah, hey, it could possibly play it again.
Yep.
I'll check, go around and ask some questions and we'll see what happens.
Oh, okay.
So just level to the ground like this.
Yeah, just make sure.
Now that's all I can hear. She's like, oh, okay.
See, I don't want to front load you, so I want to play it one more time. I don't want to front load you.
All right.
I'll check, go around and ask some questions and we'll see what happens.
Oh, okay.
So just level to the ground like this.
Yeah, just make sure.
Yeah. I mean, you certainly hear it. It's definitely there. It's like a young. Yeah.
You want me to tell you what the general consensus say?
Sure. Yeah.
I'm cold.
I did not hear that.
Let me play it again.
Play it
One
again.
more
Now
time.
you probably will hear it. Now.
Yeah.
I'll check, go around and ask some questions and we'll see what happens.
Oh, okay.
So just level to the ground like this.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
make sure.
Pareidolia of the ears.
Yeah,
You can hear it.
exactly. But see, when we and I tell this to everybody who's involved, when you have an audio clip that you think is an EVP, don't say anything to anybody. Send it to me, right? Send it to me, and then don't tell anyone, and say send it to everybody, but don't say anything. Just let them and I get the guys to give me their reaction. Don't tell anyone else what you think. And basically they all pretty much came back and said that everyone that's heard that over the years has said that. But so when you said that she's mocking, I mean, that's a really cool take on it, because I never even thought of that.
Definitely different take than what everybody else is saying.
But still, it kind of makes sense because it's a possibility, right? But I don't know what the next one is, Alex. What's the next one?
Yeah, you'll know once you hear it, obviously.
Okay.
One second.
Okay. I mean, I heard footsteps sounding, and then it sounded like a door or something. Am I mishearing it?
Nope.
Nope. Play it again.
Yep. Play it again.
So all of those sounds are the EVP? Are those did not happen?
So basically, what you're hearing is all that commotion that was going on was not
Minus
audible.
the crickets. The crickets are actually there.
Minus the crickets were not audible real time.
So the walking part, door slamming, like you said, this is outdoors.
This is outdoors, and there's literally nothing except for the house that's close by.
Okay.
But as you can hear, yeah,
it's so loud.
It's so loud,
like it's unmistakable.
And we would have heard it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something as being as loud as it was, it would have been audible, but it wasn't. None of it.
Yeah, and it's such specific sounds. Like you can absolutely tell those first sounds. They're footsteps. They're very rhythmic. Sounds like footsteps.
Yeah.
And it stops, and then the space, and then what I can only say, it sounded like a door like jiggling with something to me. Yeah, I don't know. For whatever reason, it made me think of residual something.
Most likely residual. Yes, absolutely. Most likely residual. Now I've got one here that still gives me chills because I was in the situation when this went down, but I'll give you a little bit of a background on this one, and I hope it's the one. I'm almost certain it is. We were investigating the area where I told you about the sensitive made the owners cry with her reading of the location. We investigated the guest house. It was a horse ranch, and it's a well-known ranch. In fact, it was I don't know if you're familiar with Seagrams. Seagrams is a well-known whiskey family in Canada here. Okay. And in fact, during Prohibition, Al Capone visited this location. And so anyways, we investigated the guest house because we couldn't do the main house because there was too much going on at the main house. But a painter had been in that house refreshing the main floor, painting it, blah blah blah. He was on a ladder, and all of a sudden he was starting to be choked to the point where he fell off the ladder. And this is his explanation, obviously, but I put a recorder in that very room when we were upstairs, and this is what I got. So you're going to hear us in the background, but you're going to hear what sounds. Okay, here we go.
Are you playing it, Steve? I don't know.
Can you hear it now?
Yeah.
No, I don't hear anything.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe Kristen can't hear it. Hold on. Let me send it to you.
Okay.
Because I don't know. It doesn't play very well on this system. I don't know.
Okay, send it right now. Let's see if I can load it up quickly.
Okay. But let me just load up.
Y'all are gonna give me nightmares. Oh my god!
In the meantime, Ollie wanted me to play the first one, the second one again. So I'll play that.
Play it again. Yep, play it again.
Yeah, the rhythmic of it. Jesus.
Okay, I sent it to you, Alex.
Which one? My Gmail account?
Yep.
Okay.
Does he? Oh, okay, he wants you. Okay. Females mimicking the lady, mocking almost. Yeah, so Ollie's getting what you were getting, Kristen, as well.
Okay, did they hear it? Yeah.
So I mean that's an interesting take because that is something that I haven't heard before, but that's cool. I take that into consideration, obviously, after years.
Well,
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to affect what's already, the consensus, but yeah, it's good to get different takes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hearing roller doors and boots moving on a slippery surface. Yeah. And at one point, it almost sounds like somebody's opening and closing storm doors.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm kind of. You want to play it one more time, Alex? Like, you know, those old wood storm doors, you just slam them shut that were on the side of a house.
Mm-hmm.
The file you sent me is corrupt, but I think I have a copy of what you were sending me anyway. So I'm going to play and let me know if this is the one, okay?
Okay. That's the one. Play it again. What do you hear, Kristen?
Oh, somebody's laughing.
Yeah, and there's nobody there. Isn't that weird?
Was that the one that gives you chills? Is that the
It
one?
gives me chills when I think about that house and the past it's had. It's chilling.
That's absolutely a laugh. It is undeniable.
Yeah,
like you can't.
exactly.
There's no way to explain that.
Exactly, plain as day. It's just creepy as shit.
Mm-hmm.
Can I play one of mine?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Play. Yeah.
You've heard this one before, Steve. So I'm just going to play it.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, there's a lot going on in there, and I don't know what to decipher as like actual sounds going on versus.
You're gonna hear a woman's voice.
Mm-hmm.
That's my friend talking.
Okay.
But at the same time she's talking, you're gonna hear something else if you pay attention. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's like talking going on. You can hear like consonants and something going along with it.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a quick explanation of what it is. I'm gonna play one more time.
Hold on, Alex. Hold your explanation. We're gonna have to cut things off on New Visions.
Right. Okay.
But I want Kristen to get out her information for the listeners there, where they can find her and listen to the podcast and so on and so on.
Oh, yeah. No, listen to the podcast on any platform, any listening platform you can think of. Also on YouTube. You can find me on all socials at Paranorm Girl Pod. That is across the board, all socials. Email me. Let's talk. I love to have the conversation. paranormgirlpod@gmail.com. And that's it.
And we'll see you guys next Sunday night. Thanks for tuning in on the New Visions Radio Network. You can continue to watch on YouTube. Take care, everyone.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. What's the explanation?
Explanation. This is an abandoned insane asylum that
Okay.
some friends of mine and I had gone to a good dozen times before we captured this. And one night we went, there was 4 of us. We were in one of the main buildings because it was a complex of multiple buildings. And we were on the 2nd floor. We decided to split up into 2 groups of 2s. I went with my friend Jen one way. The other 2 went the opposite way. And as we were walking, and my friend Jen always considered herself a sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
So we reached the staircase and immediately she stops and she looks down the staircase and then she looks at me. She goes, "There's something down there." And I told her, "Okay, let's just finish the floor and then we'll go downstairs and, check it out."
Yeah.
Right after that staircase, we went into the first room on the same side as the staircase. We went in. I took out my recorder. I started recording. I had my recorder not too far away from me, about an arm's length, not even. She kept blabbing about something. I couldn't remember what it was. But at the same time, and obviously we didn't hear this at the time, when I went back home and I listened, reviewed the tape, that's when I heard. And if you listen carefully as she's talking, the one word that you'll hear clearly, well, now that I say it, you'll probably hear it, is the word downstairs.
Okay.
And this is right after we had, she had stopped at the stairs and we went in. So I'll play it again and let you listen to it. See if you can catch the word. Did you hear it at all? I know there's a lot of static. There's a lot of static.
Yeah. I think it's just kind of getting in the way.
Yeah. So let's see. I do have one that's kind of cleaned up a little bit, but it's still not great.
Okay.
Let's see if I can load it up quickly. Okay, let's play this one.
So I am hearing like something going along with what she's saying. I'm hearing like a constant stream of words.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly catching the downstairs there. I thought it was right there up at front, and then I heard something at the end that sounded like it too. So
yeah, so
I am hearing something.
When we had someone analyze the clip, and he did confirm that there was 2 distinct wave patterns at the same time. So it was my friend's voice and something else. We tried to get it cleaned up as much as possible, and when we did that, the one you just finished hearing, and we cranked it. Obviously, the volume was very low on this, but when we cranked it up on a stereo system, whoever listened to it kind of agreed to the same extent, where what it was saying, it was a male whisper saying, "Everybody who's still here is down the stairs."
Right? That's what they're saying. Wow.
Yeah, that's what everybody kind of agreed to as what it was saying. And these, the people that were there were not the people who were with me at that investigation. It was completely somebody different. So they didn't know the story of my friend Jen stopping at the staircase and saying there's something down there prior to capturing this EVP.
Okay.
The building we were in, we later found out, like, obviously before we listened to the clip, we went down to the main floor and then subsequently down to the basement. In the basement, this was the building that housed the complex's morgue. So we actually got to see all the refrigerators where they would store the bodies and whatnot, right? So it was kind of interesting how all that developed. Let me play one more time.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, you can hear it like more clearly with that explanation, like what was being said. Whew. Yeah, that kind of stuff that gets me. when the message finally sinks in, or when you do catch on to something, whatever the message is, it's just like, that's the stuff that gets my heart going.
That's the fun stuff when
Mm-hmm.
you do find, like, because people don't understand, a lot of the stuff. It's rare.
Mm-hmm.
It's rare, but when it does happen, it's like wow,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. Like I remember. Oh my God, it's 11:06. um, I remember being in Waverly Hills Sanitarium in Louisville, Kentucky, and I remember we had rigged up a room with this old rubber ball, and we situated it on a quarter and put a chalk circle around it,
Mm-hmm.
and we had security DVRs trained on it, so just if it moved, we'd catch it. Every time we went by the room to check on it, it was still sitting on the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, nothing happened. We got home, went through 5 hours times 4. That's a lot of footage. But all of a sudden, you see the ball drop off the quarter and roll around playfully.
Ooh.
Around and
Yeah.
around. And then in the end, it rolled back onto the quarter.
So you never knew the whole time because you were looking at it. It was in the exact same spot that it was always.
Exactly. And when somebody walked by the room, the ball would stop.
Mm-hmm.
But when it was left alone, it would do that. And this is August. It was 109 Fahrenheit.
Mm-hmm.
It was stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there was no breeze. What the hell is a ball doing? Moving the way I have it up on YouTube. I'll send you the link.
Yeah, I want to see that. Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and you do get a gist of it moving, but
Mhm.
because the security camera is not the greatest, but you do get a gist of it moving.
Yeah. You were right. I would have to agree with like this stuff actually happening, like having these experiences. It is very special.
It is.
It's very special. And
it is.
It's so special and it's such a unique experience. Like, I think that's where a lot of skepticism, at least my skepticism, comes in because it's just not happening at the level that everyone is reporting it is. Not everyone is experiencing this stuff.
No,
but it is still happening.
It's still happening, and I mean, I entered this field not because I mean I did have things happen to me when I was a kid, nothing that out of the ordinary that was crazy, but a friend of mine had passed away, and I said, look, I really want to know what's going on. And I really went head forward into this, and scientifically, religiously. I'm not a religious person, don't get me wrong. But you have to bring all this in to try to understand what's going on, especially when you're doing the research. And in the beginning, you're naive. You think everything is paranormal, but then you start to experience. And once you experience, and you start to say to yourself, okay, that's what that is. That's, you start explaining away and explaining away and explaining away. And to the point where I know a lot of people who have been involved in the field become jaded.
Like us.
Well, I'm not jaded. I do believe there's stuff going on. I really do.
Yeah.
But I do believe it's rare. And it's the rare moments that really are intriguing.
Yeah.
May they be personal or whatever. They're really intriguing, and they're great to try to understand. But You know what, Kristen? It's been an absolute blast having you on the show. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you guys so much. This has been awesome. So much fun. Thank you.
You know, and we would absolutely love to have you back on the show. And you know what? And we would love to have you on with one of our dark discussions.
Absolutely. Anytime, guys.
Awesome. Once again, just get your info out there for everybody watching and will be watching the archive. Where to find you? I mean, we have the links, but anyways, it's always fun to hear it from you.
Straight from the horse's mouth. Yes,
Yeah.
you can listen to the show on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and all of the other platforms. Any platform. Catch me on YouTube. I do have them up there for that crowd. Email me, paranormgirlpod@gmail.com, and learn anything else about me, any updates, announcements on socials at Paranorm Girl Pod on all of the socials.
Awesome, and I will get caught up. I have time now. I'm gonna
I will make sure he does.
I will. No, I absolutely will, because you know it's been an intriguing conversation with you. Take care, Kristen.
You guys take care as well. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.